Hey everyone, and welcome. Ready to go on a trip? Today we're taking a virtual expedition all across the globe to check out Earth's amazing landscapes. We're talking everything from massive mountains to super flat fields. We're going to figure out how they're made, and more importantly, how they affect all of us. So let's jump right in. You know when you're on a long road trip or a flight and you're just staring out the window? Have you ever thought, man, why doesn't the Earth look the same everywhere? Like, why is one place all jagged and tall and then the next is just flat? It's a great question, and it turns out the answer is all about these huge, powerful forces that are always at work. So, here's the deal. The ground under us is never really still. It's being shaped by two big competing forces. First, you've got the internal process. Think of it like stuff happening deep inside the Earth, pushing land up, causing things to sink. Then you've got the external process. This is everything on the outside, like wind and water that's constantly grinding things down through erosion, and then dumping that material somewhere else to build new land. It's like this constant tug of war happening right under our feet. All right, for the first stop on our expedition, where else would we start but at the very top? We're heading for the highest points on Earth, the mountains. Okay, so what is a mountain, really? Well, technically, it's any natural bump on the Earth's surface that's got a pretty small top or summit and a really broad base. But there's a catch. To officially be called a mountain, it's got to meet a certain height requirement. And that magic number is 600 meters. If a landform rises more than 600 meters, boom, it's a mountain. Anything less, and it's probably a hill. That really puts the scale into perspective, right? And of course, the higher up you go on these things, the colder it gets, and the whole world just starts to look completely different. But here's the thing. Not all mountains are born the same way. There are actually three main types. First, you have fold mountains. Think of the Earth's crust getting squished and wrinkling up, kind of like a rug on a slippery floor. That's how we get giants like the Himalayas and the Alps. Then there are block mountains. This is when huge areas of rock crack and shift up or down. The parts that go up are called horsts, and the parts that drop down are called graben. And finally, the ones everyone knows, volcanic mountains. These are pretty straightforward. They're literally built up by erupting volcanoes, layer by layer of lava and ash, like Mount Kilimanjaro or Mount Fujiyama. I love this idea that mountains are storehouses of water. It's the perfect way to think about it. They're basically these massive natural water towers for the whole planet. All that snow and ice packed up in the glaciers at the top, that's the starting point for so many of the world's biggest rivers. And that water is just so incredibly important. It gives us water for farming, for irrigation, and it's a huge source for generating hydroelectricity. But that's not all. Mountains are also awesome for tourism and all kinds of sports, right? Skiing, paragliding, you name it. So yeah, even though living on them can be pretty tough, they provide us with so much. All right, let's head down from those jagged peaks. Our next stop is another kind of high ground, but different. We're talking about the huge, sprawling plateaus. The perfect nickname for a plateau is a tableland. Just picture that, a massive flat-topped piece of land standing way up high over everything around it. It's almost like someone took a giant mountain and just sliced the top clean off. And when I say high, I mean really high. Take the Tibet Plateau. It's the highest one in the world, reaching up to a mind-boggling 6,000 meters. To put that in perspective, that's 10 times higher than the minimum height to even be a mountain. Just wild. Okay, so if mountains are water storehouses, then you can think of plateaus as the Earth's treasure chests. So why a treasure chest? Well, it's because they are absolutely loaded with valuable minerals that have been pushed up from deep inside the Earth. I mean, just look at the examples. The African Plateau, famous for its gold and diamond mines. The Chotin Nagpur Plateau in India has huge amounts of iron, coal, and manganese. And it's not just minerals. Some plateaus, especially the ones formed from lava, have this amazing black soil that is just perfect for farming. Okay, time for the last leg of our journey. We've been up high, and now we're coming all the way down to the landform where, let's be honest, most of us actually live. We're talking about the fertile plains. So what's a plain? It's pretty much the total opposite of a mountain. It's just a huge, flat area that's usually super low, like not more than 200 meters above sea level. And the way they're created? Well, it involves something we've already talked about. Yep, it's rivers. Most plains are basically built by rivers. Imagine a river flowing down from the mountains. It's carrying all this gunk with it, tiny rocks, sand, silt. As the river slows down, it just drops all that stuff along its path and in its floodplains. Now repeat that process for thousands and thousands of years, and you end up with these deep layers of super fertile land. So it's kind of obvious why so many people live on plains, right? Just look at the comparison. On the plains, life is just easier. The ground is flat, so building houses and roads is simple. The soil is fertile, so growing food is easy. Mountains, on the other hand, steep slopes, tough climate, it's just harder. No wonder the plains are where you find most of the world's population. So there you have it, mountains, plateaus, and plains. We've seen how they're formed and what they're like. Now let's kind of wrap things up and think about what this all means for us, how these places shape our lives, and what our responsibilities are. So it's pretty clear, right? Where you live on this planet has a massive impact on your day-to-day life. Living in the mountains is just a completely different experience from living on the plains. But here's the thing, no matter where we are, we all face challenges. Now, some of those challenges come from nature itself, earthquakes, floods, volcanic eruptions, stuff we can't control. But more and more, the problems are the ones we're creating. We're misusing the land, paving over fertile soil, and dumping garbage into the rivers and landscapes that we depend on to survive. When you step back and think about it, all these different landforms are just incredible natural gifts. The Earth is our only home. It's really our duty, all of our duty, to take care of this place and make sure we leave it in good shape for the generations that come after us. So I'll leave you with one final thought to chew on. We've seen the water storehouses of the mountains, the treasure chests of the plateaus, and the bustling fertile plains. If you could pick, which one would you want to call home? Thanks for coming along on this explainer.